Hey folks, this is Gabe at Security.org, and are you looking for a system that is both smart and safe? Well, today we might have your answer as we review the iSmartSafe Economy Package. If you'd like to see a list of our favorite home security systems, Google Security.org Best Home Security Systems. If you have a question about today's review, leave us a comment and I'll get back to you. In today's review of the iSmartSafe Economy Package, I'm going to go over what components you get with the system, how easy it is to set up, the monitoring options, the customer support, and the mobile application so you have all the information you need to make the right decision for you. Jumping into the components with the iSmartSafe Economy Package, let's begin with the most important element of your system, the alarm panel. Now, this panel allows you to connect with the rest of your sensors and devices that help protect your home. And one really interesting element of the iSmartSafe alarm panel is that you can set it up with cellular backup. So you can be sure to get the alerts that you need no matter what's going on with your home's Wi-Fi connection. The next components of the iSmartSafe Economy Package to discuss are the magnetic contact sensors. Now you get a few of these in your economy package, and with that, you'll be able to place them on your doors and on your windows, and will ultimately help you have a safer home. The next component that we'll discuss with the iSmartSafe Economy Package is the motion detector. Now you're going to want to take your motion detector, put it up in a corner of a room so that it can get as much as possible, and it does have a 35-foot radius for what it will view, and on top of that, it will not capture most pets that are under 30 pounds because this motion detector becomes less sensitive as things are closer to the ground. So that's a really great add-on with the motion detector for iSmartSafe. The final component that I want to discuss today with your iSmartSafe Economy Package is the keychain remote. It looks just like what you have for your car, and it works pretty much the same way, allowing you to arm and disarm your system from up to 400 feet away. So that's your keychain remote with the iSmartSafe Economy Package. So now that we've gone over all the components you get with your iSmartSafe Economy Package, let's talk about the installation process, and I'll be frank, it is really antiquated. You are essentially setting up your iSmartSafe with the equivalent of a rotary phone, and I say that because there are a finite number of buttons on this panel, and that's what you have to use to put in your Wi-Fi password. So it's not necessarily difficult, but it takes a really long time, especially considering there's a mobile app right there. You should be able to use the mobile app, should be able to do a lot of things to facilitate the process of setting it up. So now that you have finally gotten your Wi-Fi set up, it just comes down to syncing the rest of your components. And by that, I mean your contact sensors and your motion detector and your keychain remote. And that process is actually quite simple. You'll use the menu on the iSmartSafe panel. You'll go down to whatever one you want to start setting up at that moment. So you can start with your motion sensor. You'll pull out that battery tab that lets it immediately sync up with the system. All in all, setting up each of the contact sensors probably cost me fewer than 5 minutes of my time. So overall, setting up the iSmartSafe Economy Package isn't necessarily super time consuming, but it is rather taxing. So now that we've gone over installation, let's talk about professional monitoring. And with iSmartSafe, there is no professional monitoring through the company. That doesn't mean that you don't have any options, because you actually can hire a third-party company to give you that 24/7 professional monitoring that we think you should have here at Security.org. But iSmartSafe doesn't give you any recommendations, so you're practically on your own if you decide to self-monitor or go with professional monitoring option. So now that we've gone over the installation and professional monitoring with iSmartSafe, let's talk about your customer support experience. Now, if you have an issue, you can first just go on to the online support center and try to use one of their troubleshooting guides to see if you can find the answers you need. If not, they have an online form you can fill out. You can write them an email, or you can give them a call between the hours of 9 and 8 Central Standard Time. Now, one thing I want to point out is that I did try calling iSmartSafe on back-to-back days in the middle of the week when they said they would be open, and I got nothing. I didn't get a response, and I left a voicemail the first day and never really got a call back. But I did send an email on that second day, and I had a response within 24 hours. So that was my experience with the iSmartSafe customer support team. Let's see what other people are saying. Now, when looking at the Amazon reviews for iSmartSafe, you have to keep in mind that it's only based on 15 reviews. Now, it does have 3.7 out of 5 stars, and of the 4 reviews that specifically mention customer support, 3 of those are positive. So overall, it's not anything to really write home about, but also nothing to scoff at when it comes to iSmartSafe and the customer support experience. The final element that we'll go over today in our review of the iSmartSafe home security system is the mobile application. Now, when you don't have professional monitoring like with the iSmartSafe, you need that mobile application to work really well because it's the last line of defense between what's inside your home and whatever is outside. Now, with the iSmartSafe, you would really like to see better reviews because in the Apple App Store, it's getting 2.6 out of 5-star rating, and in the Google Play Store, it's doing a little bit better with 3.3 out of 5 stars. Now, you really would like to see a system that is more attuned to the needs of the consumer, but let's just look at it on my iPhone 10. So here we are checking out the mobile application on the iSmartSafe home security system. Now, iSmartSafe is not what this mobile application is called. It's not called anything related to the app, in fact. It's actually called Cariner 2. Now, if you go into Cariner 2, the very first page, you'll see the center page. There are 3 available on the home page. You'll say disarm, arm away, or away arm, stay arm, and message. Now, this is what it sounds like if I decide to away arm.
Start away arm. Arm success.
Now I've armed this system away. Now I'm gonna go back and I wanna disarm it, and it sounds like this.
Disarm success.
Now we've disarmed the system. Now, you may have noted when I got that push notification that it says there was a camera attached. But if you go to that camera, it actually goes to a different application, and we typically don't do camera reviews if you have to open up an entirely different app in order to see your footage. So that's just something I wanted to note briefly. Now, if I go ahead and go to the settings on the top left corner, you'll note that there are a few other elements in terms of equipment, Wi-Fi that you can do there. Now, if I go and swipe left, you get a list of all the sensors. So I've got door sensors, motion detectors, and our remote keychains. If I swipe again, go back to the center, then I can actually swipe over, and there are a host of different options here. You got auto arm and disarm, so you can set the times in which it goes on and off. You can actually have it call you when an alarm goes off and see how many seconds it takes for them to call you. You can change your time zone, even your language. A lot of languages are available here on the iSmart Alarm. Maybe I'll start doing some tests and some reviews in some of these languages. Now, if we go to the bottom left corner, you can change the volume of your system, and ultimately you'll just see that there are a lot of ways by which you can look at what's happening in your iSmart Alarm system. So if you look there, those are options. That's the history of your system. Automation. You can set up various scenes. You can basically do the equivalent of IFTTT right there in the app. So that is us looking at the iSmartSafe mobile application, which is called Cariner 2. All right, we've come a long way in our review of the iSmartSafe home security system, and let's talk about whether or not it's right for you. And honestly, I don't know if it is. If you really focus on cellular backup and you just want a self-monitoring, self-contained system, then possibly you could go with the iSmartSafe, considering it is pretty affordable. But I will say that there are a host of other systems out there that are comparably priced that can probably do a lot more for you. So those are my thoughts on the iSmartSafe home security system. So that concludes our review of the iSmartSafe home security system. If you appreciate today's video, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. As always, this is Gabe Security Baron. Be secure.